So I just got done recording a video about the Fujifilm X-E2, which I thought was going to be my first video that I had done in a while, but I decided just to do this little video first. I have no specific subject to talk about. I'll give a few updates, and we'll talk about maybe we'll talk about some of the Fujifilm stuff that's announced and what we think might be announced in the next year. But I just wanted to break the ice since it's been at least 4 weeks since my last video. It's my longest break in a bit. This month in September, I was showing some. I had a photo gallery showing in a small gallery in my town that I live in, and so it's been really busy time getting that ready, and there's a few other things that were going on, so just had a lot of busy weeks. So just now getting back into the rhythm of recording some videos and getting some stuff posted and starting some new photo projects. So I have some exciting stuff I'm working on. But like I said, the X-E2 video is shot, and I will be editing that soon. Just like a lot of my other videos, it's just more of a conversation piece about a camera. But one thing I do want to update you guys on. So right now, you guys know I had the X-E1 and X-E2 for a few months because I wanted to give these style of cameras a try, and it's been really fun. I really like both these cameras, especially the X-E2. And this is kind of where the dilemma is right now, because I also, along with these two cameras, I picked up this used X-T20 at the end of summer, and I really like this one too. The reason I got this one, the reason I was looking at this line of cameras again, I was considering the X-T2, the X-T20. I even toyed around with the X-E3. I wanted another X-Trans 3 sensor-based camera for many reasons. I like the idea of when I go out and shoot a camera that's not my X-H1. I like having the same kind of raw file, the same resolution, and being used to everything about that, being used to how the raw file responds in my editing software, and it's a little more plug and play when I switch between cameras, both on the photo side and a little bit, but not so much on the video side. The X-T20 shoots awesome video, doesn't have as many video options, therefore I can't kick out the same quality video as the X-H1, but still really good quality, and can still work really well as a B camera for my X-H1. So that was the whole point with the X-T20, is can be an everyday carry camera. It's going to be really interchangeable for in terms of creating photo projects with both the X-H1 and X-T20. And then it's a good, again, a good B-roll camera for video. But the challenge is the gear head in me, the person who just loves playing with cameras and loves using cameras, doesn't want to get rid of both of these. But the reality is, I hate having cameras sitting on the shelf that aren't being used. That's why I sold the X-T1. The only reason I sold the X-T1 is because I was getting in a groove of using my X-H1 all the time, and just realizing that, man, I have this awesome camera sitting on the shelf, someone else could be enjoying it and using it. So I let that go at some point late last year or early this year, I can't remember when, and that's when I went all in on the X-H1 for a while. I made that video about doing that, and that was very beneficial. And I learned more about the X-H1 on the photo side than I really had before. I got to explore the capabilities of those raw files a little bit deeper. But then at some point in the year, I wanted to get a travel camera. I didn't feel comfortable taking my only camera I shoot YouTube videos on a trip quite yet, because I would have no real backup besides my phone. So I got the X-E1 and then eventually the X-E2, so I can experiment a little bit and try to find another everyday carry style camera that if it broke, it wouldn't be a catastrophe. I still have my main camera to use to create with. But as I started working on some photo projects, and I was working on the gallery showing project I talked about, and analyzing my photos from my X-H1, and my XT2 that I used to have as well, it just reminded me how much I love the photos from the X-Trans 3 sensor, and it started getting me thinking that, like, well, I have enough lenses and some old film cameras I could sell to pick up a hopefully a used XT20. I figured the price range for those would be perfect for what I was looking for. The XT2 prices have gone up a bit, so I found exactly what I was looking for with this XT20. Obviously, I got the silver one, and I will make a video specifically about this camera at some point, even though there's a million videos on this camera already, and half of them I think are done by Omar Gonzalez, who has a fantastic channel and who's hilarious. If you haven't followed him, which I'd be surprised if you haven't, if you're here and you haven't followed him, I'd be surprised. But if you haven't, check out Omar's channel. I will link to it below. Anyways, he's had an XT20 for years, made a whole bunch of videos on it, and he's one of the reasons why I knew this would be worthy of giving a shot. Owning an XT2 before also gave me the confidence, and owning the XH1 also gave me the confidence. Again, I knew the processor and sensor in this camera really well, and I knew the output really well, and I knew I loved the output. So anyways, that's kind of an update where we are in cameras. I have to get rid of some. Well, I don't have to, but it's just the smart thing to do. It makes the most sense. I hate having cameras. Again, I hate having good quality cameras sit on the shelf when I can't use them efficiently enough. I still want to do a decent job of balancing how much gear I have and trying to be minimalistic of sorts. So I think that the idea is still right now it's two digital cameras, the XH1 being my main camera for both photo and video, and this being, most likely this camera being the main one for my everyday carry. Will be pretty much my main photo camera unless there's a specific project or something else I need to pull up the XH1 for, or if I need two camera bodies on the same day, then I'll carry both. But for the most part, for the most stuff I do, this will probably be my everyday carry and be my main photo camera. But the dilemma is I really like this camera, the XE2. So I could keep 3, and maybe I will. I'm not sure, but I may sell it, just like I said, just because I don't like having cameras I don't use if I'm not using it a lot. So that's kind of the current situation with the cameras. These are probably going on the local used market, or they might go to Use Photo Pro or KEH, and then I'll get a lens or something from those companies. So I said that the XT2 and the XH1 gave me confidence in getting the XT20, and that's because they share the same processor and have the same sensor inside. So I was familiar with the guts of the camera, the cores of these cameras. They're all similar. And that's one of the cool things about the Fujifilm system up to this point, for the most part, is that the camera bodies share the same internals, the key parts of the internals anyways, the sensor and processor, and then they put that in different bodies. And then some of the other features are adjusted accordingly, adjusted for size, adjusted for price, or what have you. That was a refreshing approach to things, coming from other systems where two cameras may have the same sensor, but this lower end camera has a lower end processor, so its signal processing is lower, and it produces more noise at higher ISOs than the Pro camera that has the same sensor but a better processor. So most other camera brands approach it that way and not the Fujifilm way. That being said, it's possible things are changing and things will change over the next year, and that in order to hit all these sub groups of the market, Fujifilm might start making bigger differentiations between camera models. That's not a guaranteed thing, but it's something we might see, and who knows what will happen. One thing's for sure is that they are targeting video creators much more than they were when they came out with cameras like these. When they came out with cameras like these, they were concentrated on the photographer, and video was completely secondary, something that was just an afterthought. So there was some benefits to that, where they could just make the photographer happy. The photographer didn't need a flip out screen. The photographer didn't need some of these other features that come with a photo video hybrid camera. So things have already changed in that regard. We've seen more hybrid cameras. The XH1, now the most recently the XS10 and the XT4 are really solid hybrid photo video cameras. The next change we might see now is more tweaks in the internal components to fit different purposes. There's a lot of buzz right now around the XH2 and the fact that Fujifilm teased a stacked sensor for next year, and then everyone assumed, obviously, the assumption is that that's going in the XH2 along with other cameras. Whatever that sensor is, it might be the XH2 sensor. I think 2022 is going to be the product line for 2022 is going to be kind of launched by the XH2 announcement early in the year, and it might have that new sensor that they're talking about. A few years ago, there was talk of an organic based sensor, and I can't explain the technical aspects of that. You'll just have to research it, or maybe we'll do a video on it later. But there's a lot of interesting, cool possibilities for the sensor that could go in the XH2. And also, what a rumor that's been kicked up again and has a lot more heat to it now is something we talked about earlier this year, is that the XH2 could come out with two different models, one video-centric and one photocentric, mirroring Canon, Nikon, Sony, and Leica in terms of the different camera body approaches. That could be really interesting. I think we just have to wait and see what the specs are before we can decide which ones we would get, especially for people that do shoot both. One thing I hope, regardless, if the XH2 hits both markets, photo and video specifically, with two models, I just hope they continue to make these photocentric cameras like the X Pro 3 and whatnot. And the XE4, I would say, is still mostly photocentric, even though it has some nice little video features. I still want that photographer-based camera option. And then you could have these, I hope they continue both, where they have the video or the hybrids, and then these photocentric cameras. It sounds obvious that they would, but just it's no guarantee with any company that they do that. So hopefully Fujifilm does. But what are your thoughts? Tell me your thoughts on the current rumors. Are there anything the rumors aren't covering that you think might be coming down the pipeline for Fujifilm, the XH2, or the other models? Is there anything people aren't talking about that they should be? Let me know in the comments, and we'll kind of revisit this conversation in a week or two. Another interesting thing I see happening is it's pretty cool, because competition's always great. A lot of people are really liking that new Ricoh camera, and I've never tried one. I'd be curious to. I would love to, but I'm in no rush to. But regardless, my point is, companies like that are getting street photographers excited about a camera is a really good thing, and competition is awesome for companies like Fujifilm to have a little pushback. And obviously Ricoh has grabbed some Fujifilm users, I feel like, and you feel like Nikon is trying to reclaim some of the users, or trying to get some of the Fujifilm users with the ZFC camera that has some tactile controls, that feels like an old school Nikon film camera. And they're also releasing some nice compact lenses to go along with that small camera. Another company releasing some relatively compact lenses is Sony. The other cool thing is that they have aperture rings on them, I noticed. So again, but now we're seeing Sony, Nikon, and obviously Ricoh has been doing this for a while, but these three companies making some subtle and some not so subtle products, I feel like, are kind of targeted towards the type of user that Fujifilm photographers are. So that's a cool trend, I think. we'll see if that continues with those companies. It'd be kind of nice to see Canon dip their toes into some of this. I don't know if they will, but it is cool to see some companies recognize the stuff we like about Fujifilm and try to tempt some of the Fujifilm users. So I guess I think I'm going to wrap this one up because I just kind of rambled for a little while longer than I had hoped. But just leave me a random comment. This is a little bit of all over the place video. I just needed something to talk to you guys about to break the ice after a few weeks away, and let me know if there's anything new going on with you, if you're trying a new camera, if you're trying a new system, if you think you're sticking with Fujifilm for a while. If you're not, if you're thinking about switching, let me know what you're going to try out. It's another thing I really want to try with this channel is try to find ways to invite photographers of all brands, because it is kind of silly that we get so tribal about these brands, or even within a brand, it's, you know, your camera model versus my camera model. It's all just it's kind of pointless in that regard. We share the commonality of this art form or medium that we love, whether that's the moving picture or the still picture. So I want to try to find a way to get as many interested photographers to this channel as possible. So it helps if you guys like it, subscribe, and share. That helps a lot. So I appreciate all that. So that's it for now. Thanks again, as always, for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.